The alarm screamed through the Zalkarian Deep Space Monitoring Station. Commander Vic Still's 4 eyes snapped to the main display screen. His blue skin turned pale as he read the impossible data. "This cannot be right," he whispered to himself. "Operator." Zixka turned from her control panel. Her hands shook as she checked the readings again. "Commander, I have run the scan 5 times. The results are the same." Vexthal walked closer to the screen. The numbers glowed red against the black background. Energy signature, massive. Ship class, unknown but enormous. Origin point, the dead zone where Earth used to be. "Show me the visual," he ordered. The screen changed. In the dark of space, a shape moved toward them. It was huge, bigger than any ship Vexthal had ever seen. The hull was black and scarred. Strange lights blinked along its sides. It looked like a monster from the old stories his grandmother used to tell. "Run identification scan," Vexthal said. His voice was barely above a whisper. The computer worked for several long seconds. Then words appeared on the screen that made Vexthal's blood run cold. "Ship class, human dreadnought. Name, Retribution's Edge." Zixka dropped her datapad. It hit the floor with a loud crash. "That's impossible. The humans are dead. We killed them all 3 years ago." Vexthal stared at the screen. He remembered the reports from the war. The Coalition had sent over 1,000 ships to destroy Earth. They had burned the planet until nothing lived. Every human colony had been found and destroyed. The galaxy had celebrated the end of the human threat, but here was a human ship, and it was coming their way. "Open communication channels," Vexthal ordered. "Send emergency signals to Coalition Command. Tell them we have a situation." Before Zixka could respond, the communication system crackled to life. A voice came through. The speakers. It was speaking the common language, but with that strange accent that only humans had. "This is Captain Sarah Chun of the Terran Resistance Fleet. We are approaching your station. Do not be afraid. We are not here to hurt you." Vexthal. Hands shook as he reached for the communication controls. "Human ship, this is Commander Vexthal of Monitoring Station 7. Your presence here is impossible. All humans were destroyed in the Great Cleansing." A laugh came through the speakers. It was not a cruel laugh, but it made Vexthal's skin crawl anyway. "Reports of our death have been greatly exaggerated, Commander. We're coming home." The communication ended. Vixthal stared at the screen as the huge ship grew larger. He could see more details now. The hull was covered in scars from battle. Some parts looked like they had been rebuilt with different metals. Gun ports lined the sides like the teeth of a great beast. "Get me Admiral Korthik," Vexthal said. "Emergency. Channel, Priority Alpha." Zixka's hands flew over her controls. After a few moments, the stern face of Admiral Korthik appeared on a side screen. The old Zalkarian military leader looked annoyed. "This better be important, Commander." "I was in a meeting with the High Council. Sir, we have detected a human warship in the Meridian sector. It's heading toward Coalition space." Admiral Korthik's expression changed from annoyance to shock. "That's impossible. We destroyed every human ship 3 years ago." "I thought so." "Too, sir. But it's here. The ship calls itself Retribution's Edge. The captain says they are coming home." For a long moment, Admiral Korthik said nothing. His face had turned the same pale blue as Vexthal's. Finally, he spoke. "Send me all the data you have. Everything. And get your people ready to evacuate the station." "Sir, should we not fight?" "It's only one ship." Admiral Korthik's laugh was bitter. "Commander, you clearly don't remember the war reports. One human ship destroyed our entire 4th fleet at the Battle of Rigel. Another one held off 50 Coalition vessels for 6 hours before it finally died. If this is really a human warship, your station doesn't stand a chance. The connection ended. Vexthul turned back to the main screen. The human ship was much closer now. He could see smaller ships moving around it like angry insects. No, not insects. Like hunters protecting their pack leader. "Commander," Zixka called out. "I'm getting strange readings from the edge of the system. Multiple energy signatures moving in from different directions." "How many?" I can't tell. They're using some kind of stealth technology I've never seen before. But there are a lot of them." Vexthul felt his hearts skip a beat. If there were more human ships out there, this wasn't just one surviving vessel. This was a fleet. But how? How had any human survived the Great Cleansing? The communication system activated again. Captain Chun's voice filled the station. "Commander Vexthul, I want you to send a message to every Coalition world. Tell them the humans are back. Tell them we remember what they did to Earth. Tell them we remember our friends who died. And tell them this: we're not the same species you tried to destroy. We're something new. Something stronger." "What do you want?" Vexthul asked. "We want our galaxy back. We want freedom for all the species you have enslaved. We want justice for our dead world. But most of all, we want you to understand something important." "What?" "You should never have awakened a sleeping giant. You should never have attacked a species that refuses to give up. And you should never, ever, have underestimated what humans can do when they have nothing left to lose." The screen showed the massive human ship passing by the station. It did not attack. It did not even slow down. It just kept moving toward the heart of Coalition space, like a dark arrow shot from the bow of an angry god dock. Behind it came the others. Ships of every size and shape. Some looked like they had been built from the wreckage of destroyed vessels. Others were clearly alien designs that had been captured and changed, but they all flew together with purpose. "Sir," Zixka whispered, "long-range sensors show more ships coming out of deep space. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds." Vexthul watched. The fleet passed by his station. Each ship carried the same message painted on its hull in a human language. He didn't need to translate it. He knew what it said. "Remember Earth." As the last human ship disappeared toward Coalition space, Vexthul realized the galaxy was about to change forever. The humans were back, and they were angry. Admiral Korthik stood in his command center on the planet Sephoros Prime. Around him, dozens of Coalition officers worked at their stations. Every screen showed the same thing: human ships moving through space toward Coalition worlds. "Give me the Earth files," Korthik ordered his aide. "I want to remember why we were so afraid of them." Lieutenant Kekstar brought up the old war records on the main display. Images of Earth appeared first. It had been a blue and green world, beautiful in its own way. Then came pictures of human cities, human ships, and human soldiers. "They don't look so dangerous," Kekstar said. "They're smaller than most of us. Only 2 eyes. No claws or natural weapons." Korthik shook his head. "That's what we all thought. That's why the war started." The images changed to show early contact between humans and the Coalition. Trade agreements, peace talks. For a few years, everything had seemed normal. "The humans were happy to trade with us," Korthik explained. "They gave us their art and music. They shared their food and stories. Some of our people even thought they were harmless, weak." "What changed?" Kekstar asked. "We did." Korthik's voice was heavy with old pain. "The High Council decided that humans were too dangerous to leave alone. They bred too fast. They asked too many questions. They wouldn't follow our rules." More images appeared. Coalition fleets gathering at the edge of human space. Demands for surrender. Human colonies being told they must submit to coalition rule or be destroyed. They said no, Korthik continued. Every single human colony said no. Even when we showed them our massive fleets. Even when we proved we could destroy them easily. They just said no. The display showed the first battles. Coalition ships attacking human worlds. It should have been easy. The humans had fewer ships and weaker weapons, but something was wrong. Look at this battle report, Korthik pointed to the screen. We attacked the human colony on Kepler 7 with 50 ships. They had only 5 ships to defend with. By all logic, we should have won in minutes. What happened? They fought like nothing we had ever seen before. Their ships were damaged, but they kept fighting. When their weapons failed, they tried to ram our vessels. When their ships were destroyed, the survivors fought on in escape pods. It took us 6 hours to take that world. 6 hours to defeat 5 ships. Kekstar studied the battle data. This says they destroyed 12 of our ships. 12 ships lost to defeat 5. That was our first hint that we had made a terrible mistake. The images changed again. Now they showed the siege of Earth itself. Over 1,000 coalition ships surrounded the human home world. It was the largest fleet ever assembled. We demanded their surrender, Korthik said. We told them we would spare their lives if they submitted. Do you know what they said? No, sir. They said, come and take it. Then they opened fire. The battle footage was hard to watch. Earth's defense fleet was tiny compared to the coalition. Armada. Human ships died by the dozens. But for every human ship destroyed, coalition vessels were damaged or destroyed in return. They turned their entire planet into a fortress, Korthik explained. Every city had anti-ship weapons. Every building was a bunker. When we landed troops, human civilians fought alongside their soldiers. Children threw bombs at our tanks. Old people shot at our aircraft. The siege of Earth lasted 3 years. 3 years of constant fighting against a species that refused to give up. The humans used every dirty trick they could think of. They hid weapons in hospitals. They disguised soldiers as civilians. They turned cargo ships into guided missiles. By the end, we had lost half our fleet, Korthik said quietly. Half of the largest armada ever built, destroyed by one world that wouldn't surrender. But we won, Kekstar pointed out. We destroyed Earth. Did we? Korthik looked at his aide. Yes, we turned Earth into a dead rock. Yes, we killed billions of humans. But did we really win? The display showed the aftermath. Human survivors scattered across the galaxy, using stolen ships to attack coalition worlds. They hit supply convoys. They destroyed space stations. They made every occupied human world a nightmare to control. They never gave up, Korthik said. Even after Earth died, they kept fighting. For 2 more years, we hunted human survivors through the dark between stars. Every time we thought we had found the last group, more would appear somewhere else. The reports say we killed them all. The reports said what the High Council wanted to hear, but some of us always wondered. Humans were too smart and too stubborn to all die so easily. A communication alert beeped. Korthik activated the channel. Commander Vexthil's panicked face appeared on the screen. Admiral, the human fleet has passed my station. One count over 200 ships of various sizes. They're heading directly for the Nexus Gate. Korthik felt his blood turn cold. The Nexus Gate controlled access to the core worlds. If the humans took it, they could strike at the heart of Coalition space. What's their estimated arrival time? 18 hours, sir. After ending the communication, Korthik turned to his staff. Prepare the Third Fleet for immediate departure. Send messages to all Coalition worlds. The humans are back, and they're coming for revenge. As his officers rushed to carry out orders, Korthik stared at the old war footage still playing on the main screen. He watched human soldiers fighting impossible odds. He saw human civilians dying rather than surrender. He remembered the fear in Coalition soldiers' eyes when they realized what kind of enemy they were facing. "Sir," Kextar asked quietly, "what made them so dangerous?" "They're just one species among thousands." Korthik was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke in a voice that carried the weight of terrible memory. "Most species in the galaxy evolved from prey animals. They learned to run and hide when faced with danger. Others came from peaceful worlds where cooperation was the key to survival. But humans? Humans came from a death world where everything tried to kill them. They learned to hunt. They learned to fight. Most importantly, they learned never to give up. But surely our technology and numbers can defeat them again." "You don't understand," Korthik said, turning away from the screen. "The humans we fought before were farmers and traders and artists who had to learn war. The humans coming for us now have spent 3 years doing nothing but learning how to kill us better. They've had time to study our weaknesses, time to build better weapons, time to plan their revenge." The Admiral walked to the window that looked out over Coalition Command. In the distance, he could see ships preparing for battle. Thousands of Coalition vessels getting ready to face the human threat. "We should have left them alone," he whispered. "We should have never attacked Earth, because now we're going to learn what happens when you try to destroy a species that refuses to die." Captain Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the Retribution's edge. Around her, human officers worked at their stations with calm focus. The main screen showed empty space ahead, but Sarah knew better. Her fleet was out there, hidden in the darkness. "Status report," she ordered. "All ships are in position, Captain," replied Commander Torres, her second in command. "The Ghost Squadron is moving through the asteroid field. The Hammer Group is approaching from the outer system. Convoy 7 is ready to drop stealth at your command." Sarah nodded. 3 years of hiding in the void had taught humanity many new tricks. They had learned to move unseen through space. They had learned to turn any piece of metal into a weapon. Most importantly, they had learned patience. "Any word from the other fleets?" she asked. "Fleet Group Alpha is approaching the Rigel system. Fleet Group Beta is moving toward the Centauri stations. All groups report ready for Phase 1. Sarah smiled, but it was not a happy expression. Phase 1 was about more than revenge. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity had not just survived, they had evolved. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Park from the communication station, "we're getting signals from deep space. More ships coming out of hiding." The main screen changed to show long-range sensor data. Dozens of new contacts appeared, moving in from the dark spaces between stars. Some were large, others small. All of them carried the same signal: human ships coming home. "The generation ships are finally ready to join us," Torres said with satisfaction. Sarah remembered the generation ships. Before the war, they had been massive colony vessels carrying millions of humans to distant worlds. When Earth fell, those ships had vanished into deep space. The Coalition thought they had been destroyed or had fled the galaxy entirely. They were wrong. "Show me the Phoenix Rising," Sarah ordered. The screen focused on one of the larger contacts. The Phoenix Rising had once been a simple colony ship. Now it was something else entirely. Its hull was covered with armor plating salvaged from destroyed Coalition vessels. Gun ports lined its sides. Fighter bays had been carved into its structure. "How many people aboard her now?" Sarah asked. 2 million civilians, Torres replied, plus 50,000 trained fighters and a full manufacturing facility. She's been building new ships for us while staying hidden in the void. Sarah thought about those 2 million people. They were children who had been born after Earth died, adults who had lived their entire lives in the darkness between stars. They had never seen a real planet, never breathed natural air. But they knew who they were. They were human, and they were coming home. "Signal from the Endurance," Lieutenant Park announced. "Captain Martinez wants to know if he should begin the demonstration. Tell him to proceed. It's time the Coalition learned what we've been doing while they thought we were dead." The screen switched to show another ship moving toward a Coalition listening post. The Endurance looked like an old cargo vessel. Scarred and patched, it seemed. Harmless enough. But as they watched, panels on its hull opened to reveal hidden weapon systems. "The Coalition host is hailing the Endurance," Park reported. "They're demanding identification." "Let me hear it," Sarah said. A nervous alien voice came through the speakers. "Unknown vessel. This is Coalition Station Echo 7. State your business." "In this system," Captain Martinez's voice answered, calm and steady. "This is Captain Rodriguez Martinez of the Earth vessel Endurance. We're here to collect what you stole from us." "There are no Earth vessels. Earth was destroyed 3 years ago. Earth was our home," Martinez replied. "But we are more than one world. We are an idea, and ideas are very hard to kill." On the screen, they watched as the Endurance moved closer. To the station. The Coalition post fired warning shots, but the human ship didn't slow down. "You have 10 seconds to surrender the station," Martinez announced. "After that, we take it by force." "This is impossible," the alien voice said. "You're just one old cargo ship. We have defensive systems, armed shuttles, a full garrison." 9 seconds, Martinez said calmly. Sarah watched with pride as the Endurance revealed its true nature. Hidden weapons emerged from concealed bays. Fighter craft launched from secret hangars. What had looked like one old ship was actually a mobile. Battle platform. The Coalition station tried to fight back, but it was over quickly. Human fighters swarmed the station's defenses, while the Endurance's guns disabled its weapons. Within minutes, the station was floating helpless in space. "Station Echo 7 is now under human control," Martinez reported. "No Coalition casualties. They're our prisoners, not our enemies." Sarah felt a moment of satisfaction. That was important. The humans were not here to become like the Coalition. They were here to be better. "Captain," Torres said quietly, "we're receiving reports from across the sector. Human ships are revealing themselves everywhere. The Liberation Fleet is surrounding Coalition worlds. The rescue squadrons are moving to free slave populations. The Ghost Fleet is disrupting their supply lines." "How many ships do we have in total?" "Current count is over 800 vessels. More are arriving every hour." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. 800 ships. 3 years ago, humanity had maybe 50 warships when the Coalition attacked Earth. Now they had an entire fleet built from nothing but determination and salvaged parts. "Any response from Coalition Command?" "Admiral Korthik is mobilizing the Third Fleet. 200 ships moving to intercept us at the Nexus Gate." "Only 200? Sarah laughed. "He's either very confident or very foolish." "Maybe both," Torres suggested. The communication system activated. A new voice came through, speaking in accented Coalition standard. It was Admiral Korthik himself. "Human ships, this is Admiral Korthik of the Coalition Defense Force. You are in violation of galactic law. Surrender immediately, and you will be treated according to the rules of war." Sarah activated the reply channel. "Admiral Korthik, this is Captain Sarah Chun. I remember you from the Siege of Earth. You demanded our surrender then, too." A long pause. "Captain Chun, I thought you died on Earth." "A lot of people thought that. They were wrong. I was evacuated with the last group of children. We've been waiting for this day. What do you want?" We want our friends back. We want the slave worlds freed. We want justice for Earth. And we want the galaxy to remember that some species cannot be conquered. You're outnumbered. Even with 800 ships, the Coalition has thousands. Admiral, you're thinking like someone who fights from a position of strength. We learned long ago how to fight when we're outnumbered. We got very good at it. Sarah ended the communication and turned to her crew. These were men and women who had grown up in the ruins of human civilization. They had learned engineering by rebuilding damaged ships. They had learned tactics by fighting impossible odds. They had learned courage by watching their parents refuse to give up. All ships, this is Captain Chun, she announced on the fleet channel. In 18 hours, we reach the Nexus Gate. The Coalition will try to stop us there. This will be our first real battle since Earth fell. Some of you were children when that happened. Others weren't even born yet. But all of you carry the memory of our home world in your hearts. She paused, looking around the bridge at her crew. The Coalition thinks they destroyed humanity when they burned Earth. They think we're just a handful of survivors looking for revenge. They're wrong. We're not the same species they tried to exterminate. We're something new. Something forged in the darkness between stars. Something that doesn't know how to give up. On the screen, more human ships continued to emerge from hiding. Colony ships converted to carriers. Mining vessels turned into gunships. Even small civilian craft armed with improvised weapons. We're going home, Sarah said softly. And we're bringing friends. Admiral Korthik stood in the command center of his flagship, the Dominator. Around him, 200 Coalition ships waited in formation near the Nexus Gate. It was the largest space gate in the galaxy, connecting the outer systems to the core. Worlds. If the humans took control of it, they could strike at the heart of Coalition space. Sir, long-range sensors are picking up the human fleet, reported his tactical officer. Distance. 2 light hours and closing. How many ships? Difficult to say. They're using some kind of jamming technology. But at least 50, maybe more. Korthik nodded. 50 ships against 200. Those were good odds, even against humans. Show me their formation. The main display lit up with tactical data. The human ships were spread out in a loose formation. Not the tight battle groups that most species used. Some ships were far ahead of others. Some hung back in the rear. That's a strange formation, observed Captain Zelenex, Korthik's second in command. It looks almost random. Don't be fooled, Korthik warned. Humans never do anything random in battle. There's a plan here. We just don't see it yet. The waiting continued. Coalition ships held their positions around the Nexus Gate like a steel wall. Their weapons were charged and ready. Their shields were at maximum power. It should have been enough to stop any attack. Contact, the sensor officer called out. Human ships entering weapons range. Korthik studied the tactical display. The human fleet was still approaching in that loose formation. He could see the Retribution's edge leading the attack, its massive hull scarred from old battles. Behind it came a mix of ship types he had never seen before. Those ships, he said, pointing at the display. Some of them aren't warships. You're right, sir. I'm reading colony ship designs, cargo vessels, even what looks like a mining platform. They brought civilians to a battle? Captain Zelenex sounded shocked. Korthik shook his head. No, they brought every ship they had. That's what humans do. When they fight, everyone fights. The human fleet spread out even more as it approached. Ships moved in different directions, some high, some low, some coming straight at the Coalition. Formation. It looked like chaos, but Korthik knew better. All ships, prepare to engage, he ordered. Target their largest vessels first. If we can break their command structure, the rest will retreat. Sir, the humans are transmitting on all frequencies. Let me hear it. Captain Chun's voice filled the command center. Coalition ships, this is your last chance to withdraw. We don't want to kill you. We want the gate. Stand aside and let us pass. Korthik activated his reply channel. Captain Chun, I have 200 ships. You have maybe 60. Surrender now, and I'll spare your lives. Admiral, you still don't understand. We're not here to fight fair. We're here to win. The communication ended. Korthik turned to his weapons officer. All ships open fire. The space around the Nexus gate lit up with energy beams and missile trails. 200 coalition ships fired at once, their combined firepower enough to destroy a small moon. The human ships scattered like leaves in a storm, but they didn't retreat. Damage report on the human fleet, Korthik demanded. Minimal hits, sir. They're using evasive maneuvers unlike anything in our tactical database. Their ships are moving, independently, but somehow staying coordinated. On the screen, Korthik watched something impossible. The human ships were fighting like a school of fish, each vessel reacting instantly to threats while maintaining perfect formation with the others. When coalition fire concentrated on one ship, 3 others would move to protect it. When a human vessel was damaged, 2 more would close in to cover its retreat. How are they coordinating like that? Captain Zelenex asked in amazement. Unknown. Sir, their communication patterns are too complex for our computers to decode. Then the human ships began to return fire. Korthik expected their weapons to be weaker than coalition guns. He was wrong. Beams of energy more powerful than anything he had seen before lanced out from the human fleet. Coalition shields flared and failed under the assault. What kind of weapons are those? He demanded. Analyzing now, sir. The energy signatures are. Sir, they're using our own technology against us. Those are modified coalition weapons, but they've been improved somehow. One of Korthik's destroyers exploded in a ball of fire. Then another. The humans were concentrating their fire, taking out coalition ships one by one with surgical precision. Sir, the human cargo ships are launching something. Multiple small contacts incoming. Korthik looked at the tactical display and felt his heart skip a beat. The human cargo ships were launching hundreds of small fighters, but these weren't normal fighter craft. They were moving too fast and maneuvering too sharply. Those are drone fighters, his tactical officer reported. Fully automated, they're swarming our escort vessels. The battle turned into chaos. Coalition ships found themselves fighting on multiple fronts. The large human vessels engaged the coalition battle line, while swarms of drone fighters attacked from all directions. Meanwhile, the converted civilian ships revealed hidden weapons and joined the battle. We're losing ships too fast, Captain Zelenex reported. The humans are using some kind of advanced battle management system. Every shot they fire hits something. How is that possible? Unknown. It's like they can predict where our ships will be before we move. Korthik watched his carefully planned formation fall apart. Coalition ships were exploding or retreating in disorder. The humans pressed their attack with relentless efficiency. Every move they made seemed designed to cause maximum damage with minimum risk. Sir, urgent message from the destroyer squadron. They report that human ships are appearing behind our lines. Ships that weren't there before. What do you mean? Stealth. Ships, sir. The humans had vessels hiding in the area before the battle started. They're attacking our rear formations. On the display, Korthik could see new human ships revealing themselves throughout the battle zone. Ships that had been invisible were now firing on surprised coalition vessels. The humans hadn't just brought one fleet to this battle. They had brought 3 or 4 smaller fleets and coordinated a massive ambush. All ships fall back to defensive positions around the gate, Korthik ordered. Form a defensive sphere. Make them come to us. But the humans didn't cooperate. Instead of charging the coalition defensive line, they spread out even more. Some ships moved to attack the gate's control stations. Others began firing on the gate's power systems. A few hung back and continued to launch more drone fighters. They're not trying to break through our defenses, Captain Zelenex realized. They're trying to capture the gate intact. Of course they are, Korthik said bitterly. They need it to get to the core worlds, and they're willing to fight a long battle to take it. The Retribution's edge moved closer to the gate, its massive guns firing continuously. Coalition ships concentrated their fire on the human flagship, but its shield seemed impossibly strong. Smaller human vessels moved to protect it, taking hits meant for their command ship. Sir, we're down to 140 ships. The humans still have most of their fleet intact. Korthik looked at the tactical display. His ships were scattered and damaged. The humans were winning through superior coordination and better technology. But worst of all, they were fighting with a purpose that his own forces couldn't match. Open a channel to Captain Shun, he ordered. Go ahead, Admiral, came the immediate reply. How? Korthik asked simply. How are you doing this? 3 years ago, you were farmers and merchants. Now you fight like you were born for war. Captain Shun's voice was calm. We had good teachers, Admiral. You taught us that the galaxy is a dangerous place. You taught us that survival requires strength. You taught us that some enemies will never stop coming unless you stop them first. We didn't mean to create this. No, you didn't. You meant to destroy us. But humans are hard to kill. And when you try to destroy us, we become something stronger. Another coalition ship exploded on the display. Korthik realized that he was about to lose not just the battle, but possibly his entire fleet. All ships, he announced with a heavy heart. Begin withdrawal to the second defensive line. We cannot hold the gate. As coalition ships retreated through hyperspace, Korthik took one last look at the human fleet. They had won their first major battle since Earth's fall. But he knew this was just the beginning. The humans were coming home, and they were bringing war with them. Captain Sarah Chun stood in the command center of the captured Nexus Gate Station. Through the large windows, she could see human ships moving through the massive space gate in organized groups. The route to the core worlds was now open. Status. Report, she ordered. Commander Torres looked up from his datapad. The gate is fully under our control. We've established communication links with all human fleets in the galaxy. Liberation forces are reporting success on 12 worlds. Sarah nodded. The victory at the Nexus Gate had been bigger than just one battle. It had shown the galaxy that humans were back, and that they could defeat the coalition in open warfare. Any word from the freed worlds? The best news first. The slave camps on Rigel 4 have been liberated. Captain Martinez reports that over 2 million beings from 40 different species have been freed. They're asking to join our fleet, Sarah smiled. That was the real victory. The coalition had ruled through fear and slavery. Humanity offered something different, freedom and hope. What about coalition response? Mixed. Some worlds are surrendering without a fight. Others are preparing for siege. Admiral Korthik has been relieved of command. The High Council is demanding his replacement organize a counterattack. Who's the new commander? Admiral Zephyros. He's younger than Korthik and reportedly more aggressive. Sarah remembered Admiral Zephyros from the intelligence files. He was smart, ruthless, and had never lost a major battle. He would be a dangerous enemy. Captain, Lieutenant Park called from the communication station. We're receiving a transmission from Coalition High Command. It's addressed to you personally. Put it through. The main screen showed an imposing alien figure in an elaborate uniform. Admiral Zephyros had the scaled skin and multiple eyes of a saurian, one of the Coalition's founding species. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of absolute power. Captain Shun, I am Admiral Zephyros. I have been given full authority to end this human uprising. Admiral, Sarah replied calmly, this isn't an uprising. This is a homecoming. You have attacked Coalition stations, freed criminal populations, and disrupted galactic order. This ends now. The only thing ending is the Coalition's reign of terror. We're not here for conquest, Admiral. We're here for justice. Zephyros leaned forward. Justice? You speak of justice while leading an invasion fleet? We're not invaders, Sarah said firmly. We're liberators. Every world we've approached has been given a choice. Join us in freedom or continue serving the Coalition. So far, most are choosing freedom. The Coalition brings order to the galaxy. Without us, there would be chaos. The Coalition brings slavery and oppression. We've seen your order. Entire species forced to work in your mines. Worlds stripped of resources to feed your war machine. Children taken from their families to serve in your factories. Admiral Zephyros was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was harder. You cannot win. Even if you control a few outer systems, the Coalition has thousands of ships and millions of soldiers. We will crush you. Sarah looked around the command center at her crew. These were people who had grown up hearing stories of Earth's destruction. They had lived their entire lives preparing for this moment. Admiral, you don't understand what humanity has become. 3 years ago, we were a single species on one world. Now we're something more. We're an idea that spreads to every species that dreams of freedom. Ideas don't win wars. Ships and weapons win wars. Then let me show you what our idea has built. Sarah nodded to Torres, who activated the strategic display. The screen showed a map of the galaxy with human positions marked in blue and Coalition forces in red. 3 years ago, there had been no blue marks on the map. Now they covered a significant portion of the outer rim. 23 star systems had declared independence from the Coalition, Sarah announced. 47 species have joined the Human Alliance. Our fleet now numbers over 1,500 ships, and more worlds are joining us every day. Admiral Zephyros studied the display with obvious concern. Impossible. Our intelligence reports showed only a few hundred human survivors. Your intelligence reports showed what we wanted them to show. We've been planning this for 3 years, Admiral. Every detail, every move. We learned from our defeat at Earth. We became better. It doesn't matter. I have 3,000 ships under my command. I will crush your rebellion and restore order. Sarah's expression grew serious. Admiral, I'm going to tell you something important. The humans you fought at Earth were civilians trying to protect their home. The humans you face now are soldiers who have spent 3 years learning how to destroy the Coalition. We're not the same species you remember. You're still just humans. No, we're the children of Earth. We're the survivors of extinction. We're the nightmare that the Coalition created when it tried to destroy something that refused to die. The communication ended. Sarah turned to her staff. Around the command center, human officers worked alongside aliens from a dozen different species. All of them had chosen to fight for freedom rather than submit to Coalition rule. All fleet commanders, this is Captain Shun, she announced on the General Communication Channel. Admiral Zephyros is mobilizing the Coalition's main battle fleet. They're coming to retake the Nexus Gate and push us back to the Outer Rim. She paused, looking at the tactical displays showing human ships throughout the sector. This will be the largest battle since the siege of Earth. The Coalition will throw everything they have at us. They think that if they can break our fleet here, they can end the war. Are they right? asked Commander Torres quietly. Sarah shook her head. They still don't understand. This war isn't about fleets or weapons. It's about something much more powerful. On the screen, reports continued to come in from across the galaxy. Human ships were liberating slave worlds. Coalition garrison forces were surrendering rather than fight. Entire star systems were declaring independence. The Coalition ruled through fear, Sarah explained to her crew. They made every species afraid to resist. But we've shown the galaxy that the Coalition can be defeated. We've proven that freedom is possible. Lieutenant Park looked up from his station. Captain, we're receiving surrender offers from Coalition forces on 6 different worlds. They're asking for safe passage in exchange for releasing their prisoners. Grant all requests. Make it clear that we're not here to destroy the Coalition peoples. We're here to end the Coalition system. But what about Admiral Zephyros and his fleet? Sarah looked out at the stars beyond the gate. Somewhere out there, 3,000 Coalition ships were preparing for war. It would be the largest space battle in galactic history. Zephyros represents the old way of thinking. He believes that the strongest force wins. He's about to learn that strength isn't just about numbers. A new report came in from the Liberation. Fleets, the prison world of Tartarus Prime, had been freed. Over 5 million beings from hundreds of species had been released from Coalition camps. Many were asking to join the human fleet. You see, Sarah said to her crew, we're not fighting for human supremacy. We're fighting for the right of every species to be free. That's why we'll win. Because freedom is stronger than fear. She activated the fleet communication system one more time. All ships, all crews, all free beings of the galaxy. In 12 hours, the Coalition will arrive with their largest fleet. They come to destroy us and restore their empire of slavery. Sarah looked around the command center. Humans and aliens work together, united by their desire for freedom. They think this is the end of our rebellion. They're wrong. This is the beginning of a new galaxy. A galaxy where no species kneels to another. A galaxy where freedom isn't a dream, but a right. On the tactical display, more human ships continued to arrive through the gate. Ships from the deep void. Ships built in hidden asteroid bases. Ships crewed by humans who had never seen Earth but carried its memory in their hearts. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when you try to destroy something that refuses to give up. Today, we prove that some things are worth fighting for. Today, we take back the stars. The human fleet prepared for the battle that would decide the future of the galaxy. But Sarah knew they had already won the most important victory. They had shown the galaxy that freedom was possible. And that idea, once planted, would grow until it covered every world under every star. The Coalition was about to learn that. Humans weren't just another species to be conquered. They were the children of a world that had taught them never to surrender. And they were home.